And I would like to introduce Elizabeth Frisch, who has been, I guess, a pivotal person to help communities and organizations and enterprises start work from home programs in their own companies. Telecommuting is her subject matter, and she's an author and speaker. So without further ado, she's going to share with us what the benefits are of working from home.
Great. If you just do view slideshow, it'll be up there. We tested it out. So you all get to see my cute scooter. I'm going to grab a stool so I'm not scooting into this talk. Although that may be entertaining and be distracting from what I'm trying to do, right? All right, is this the clicker? Yep.
Is this the clicker?
So I get 15 minutes this morning on the rise and hows of telecommuting. And so just so you know a little bit of my background, I'm here representing Thrival School. I'm actually really excited because I just bootstrapped this company in 2 weeks. And it was actually an evolution of a previous company I've run for the last 10 years where our services are really about in the business resiliency category. And so just a little quick bit of my story. I am 20 years young because I don't feel like I'm in my 40s, thank you very much, in the field of business resilience and leadership development. I totally will fess up, I'm a recovering chemical engineer. I did labor under the illusion that you can engineer humanity for the first half of my career, and then the second half I formed an organization that did the opposite. And I've been a consultant my whole life, which some people might think is bad, but for someone like me who loves variety, 50+ industries, all levels of government, U.S. military, for someone with ADD, it is a dream come true, let me tell you. And just, you know, I have a bunch of books coming out. My first one coming out this year. My soon-to-be publisher would murder me for even showing you these book covers because when they looked at them, they said, "You are an engineer, never design a book cover again." But at least, you know, there's going to be 3 books coming out called the Empowerment Series on leadership, and it's all about doing things like this, how do you get these social changes. So without further ado, since we have speed dating, we're doing 15 minutes here. Let's go to what I call the why. So first and foremost, as a whole in industry and business, we are what I call over-invested in real estate. So what that means, and there's some interesting statistics out there, but I like to use BOMAs, on an average day, the average workspace, and I don't care if you're a pharmaceutical company, high-tech company, a business company, a service company, your offices are typically empty 70% of the time. That's the average across all industry. And so you are paying for real estate, millions and millions of dollars of real estate. And in this down economy, I had one CEO say it's butts or cubes, and that's actually true. You're having to choose between paying your real estate bill or laying people off. And that's not what we want to do as business. And so the number one why for me when I go out and talk to companies is rework your workspace, get some work from home, and then you can invest in your people instead of your buildings. The second one, and second reason why this has gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour is the economy. As most of you know, all of us, no matter what business we were in, were impacted by the last 3 years. And so you may not be aware, but the average person sitting in an office costs the company $5,000 to $20,000 per person. And that's like a cost that's based on utilities, the real estate, the space they take up, your leasing, all that other good stuff. And as you know, has anybody's water, power, or material bill gone down in the last year or two? It has not. And so again, the economy is forcing companies to really put a huge emphasis on how do we survive, and not just survive, but thrive with this kind of environment. So number 3, and not to be stereotypical, but I loved this picture, so I cannot resist putting it up here for you. The why you have people work from home, there are huge, and it's been studied, there's data out there, health benefits to working from home. And so I will tell you, every additional hour you spend in a car increases your chance of being overweight by 6%. So if you have a 1-hour commute, that's 6%. If you have a 2-hour commute, that's 12%, and on and on and on. I know people who have 3+ hour commutes because they live in beautiful areas out on the lake and drive into downtown every day. But unfortunately, reality is you get heavier and heavier because when you're in the car, what are you not doing? And the other thing is when you're in the car, what are you eating or not eating? You know, it's kind of healthy food, you know, eating a salad in the car is a hard thing to do. And then you have people like me. Do you really want me in a boot driving on Mopac in rush hour traffic with you like I just did get here? Not a good thing. The second part of the health issue, so how many of you are aware that we have some air quality issues already here in Austin, Texas, that we are very close to being bumped into what's called as non-attainment for air quality? So how many? I just want to see. So good. I've got an audience who's like really aware. So you know if our air quality goes south, our health is going to go south with it. And why? Because that stuff that comes out of your tailpipe is amazingly respirable. It not only goes into your lungs, it can actually absorb into your bloodstream. They've actually studied why runners have heart attacks. And they've actually shown that runners who run in polluted cities have hardening of the arteries just like they stack a happy pile of lard. Just like overweight people do, because that goes in and it causes an inflammation. So we want to work more people from home because Austin is doubling its population. And it's doubling it within the span of decades. And I don't know if you've looked at the roads lately, but can you imagine what your 1 hour commute is going to look like 20 years from now? 50,000 and 100,000 people die each year from air pollution. Multiple sources are a big part of outdoor air pollution. So health, really important. The next reason why you want to do this is what I call the happy factor. So how many of you actually have read the study that shows that happy people are higher in productivity? How many of you saw the study that came out that said optimists make more money and are more successful in their careers than pessimists? Okay? So here's the truth. We've had remote work with us, working from home with us for over a decade now, really robustly with a lot of companies. The studies show they are happier. They are more productive. Well-designed programs have more productive employees. I myself, in 1995, got hired in with the state of Texas and was told, welcome to your job. And I said, where are my employees? And they told me I had a dozen to supervise. And they said, oh, they're all over the state. You're here in Austin, and they're in every city in Texas. And so what I really got, though, was my employees were super happy being remote. In fact, they hated coming to the main office. They loved having their quality of life. They loved being out there. They loved freedom. And let me tell you, we're going to talk about the Gen Ys. Because a lot of you with aging populations, I don't know if you've looked at your demographics, but if you are not tracking the age of your company, you are missing a key thing that if you are aging and you want to get Gen Y in, we have the last big Y, okay? The new workforce, if you chain them to an office, you're not going to be able to work in the cafe one, collaborate in another, and move here and move there, and that keeps them happy. I have lots of Gen Ys I've had in my companies, and they like ultimate freedom. And so my last why I always give you is, if you really do want to thrive as a business in the next decade, you better be doing more work and other things, because you're going to miss the whole Gen Y. They're going to go to the companies that are like equal companies that are city. So I'm going to give you some quick steps on the how, and then I'm going to tell you we are speed dating. So, but I have a promise at the end of it that I told Ruben I would offer to you all here if you want to go forward with this. So the 7 steps. Number 1 is that you make the case. And so doing an anonymous survey to see how many people are already doing it. Looking at how you work, doing what we call a bench check and showing that your offices are 30% empty already, so we might as well capitalize on it. All of those things help build the case. And I put a little caveat in here on the emotional aspect. I will tell you the number 1 reason businesses don't do this is fear, okay? And so when I get hired in, like program tools, I give those away to my clients. I don't even charge them for those. What they're paying me for is this, is to get the culture change in there. And so you really make sure that you have looked at like what people are most afraid of, and then you have a response to it. Because you're going to have all sorts of personalities. Some people don't care, some people want to know what it is, and others are just like, how is this going to make my life miserable or happy? Step 2 is your fan base. These are not lone soldier initiatives. I have some clients I've gotten these done in a year. I have some who are at 5+ years, but it all takes a while depending on the size of the organization to get it moving. Now, the design phase you Google, so I'm going to spend very little time on this. Tools are essential. I will tell you, these programs live and die on IT and collaboration, ability to stay connected over distance. 4, this is the step that most companies shirk on. They don't train their middle managers nor their workers before they go home on how to do it right. They just send them home. So do not skip this step. It's essential. Step 5, crawl before you walk. I have companies that all of a sudden just make a decision and suddenly spend 30 to 40% of their workforce home for more than 3 or 4 days a week, and then they, a year later, come back and go, Elizabeth, I failed miserably. And I'm like, one thing would have been a good start, or, X percentage of this group. Like, don't be afraid to let it take a little bit longer, because then you're going to work out the kinks, and by the time you roll it out to everyone, it will go brilliantly smoothly. So this is from my Jen Myers. You have to be patient. Step 6, build your case. And I always say this is where the engineer walk in me is. Get the data, publish the data, show the data. I measure productivity, satisfaction, all those other good things for my clients, and it really, really helps communicate that. Then last, make it a system. It's not random. Spend the money, have the tools, automate it, so it's just so easy. Complex systems and bureaucracies don't work, and like I said, at the end of the day, if it's too complex, no one will do it. So I'm going to leave you with one little box. It's my favorite quote. You sit there and think, can you do it or not? Henry Ford had it right, whether you think you can or you can't. All right. So my little offer at the end, Ruben, because I'm just finishing up. I told Ruben that anyone who participated in this and was interested, I'd actually do my Get Started Go Mobile training. That's going to include a little packet, examples of like how to do an assessment, how to do all that kind of stuff. And we'll do that as a webinar, so you can call in from your office, and that's my gift to the thing, because I'm so excited. And it was brilliant that they did one day. That's why it's going to work great. So thank you for your time.